All right, shalom to the elect. I want to start by giving all the praises, honor, and glory to whom it rightfully belongs, which is Yahweh, Bahashem Yahweh Shai, Bahashem Rakak Wadash. And what I said was all the praises, honor, and glory belongs to Yahweh, who is the Heavenly Father, in the name of His Son, Yahweh Shai, who is the Messiah, in the name of the Holy Spirit. Double honors to the apostles and elders of Great Millstone, ever well. Peace, blessings, and salutations to the elect. All right. And this lesson, I was going through this last night, Acts the 12th chapter. I'm just read through it, right? And I was just thinking, this is a good chapter to remember, for persecution, all right? Because as we know, we're gonna be persecuted for the truth, all right? You know, it's got to happen, all right? You know, this is the book of Saint John, chapter. Remember, this society is just so against the Lord. All right, we know it's gonna happen. Our people hear, about us, preaching, the word. All right, our people know about so-called Hebrew Israelites. Well, not so-called because we are Hebrew Israelites, but they know about us. Okay, you see, our people know about some of the different things that we say. Sometimes they will get it mixed up. A lot of the times they'll get what we say mixed up. All right, but they know about us, man, and we, Hebrew Israelites are basically like a pest to them. So, it's going to come a time we're going to get persecuted, man. This is the book of St. John, chapter 15 and verse 20. It says, "Remember the word that I said unto you, the servant is not greater than his Lord. If they have persecuted me, they will also persecute you. If they have kept my saying, they will keep yours also." Okay? So let me get this word persecute. All right? If they persecuted Yahweh Shai, which they did, don't you think they're going to persecute his followers? All right?
Strong's G 1377. Dioko. Dioko.
All right, this is the word for persecute in the Greek, and it says to make, to run or flee, put to flight, drive away, to run swiftly in order to catch a person or thing, to run after. It says in any way, whatever, to harass, trouble, molest one, to persecute, to be mistreated, suffer persecution on account of something, with the idea of hostility, to run after, follow after. And the idea of hostility meaning they trying to harm you. Metaphor, to pursue, to seek after eagerly, earnestly endeavor to acquire. So, they're going to come after us. They're going to persecute us, man. Okay, at a certain point in time, that's what they're going to do. All right? But remember the words of Yahweh Shai. This is the book of Matthew, the 5th chapter, and it says the Sermon on the Mount, the Beatitudes. Matthew chapter 5, starting at verse 10. "Blessed are they which are persecuted for righteousness' sake, for theirs is the kingdom of heaven. Blessed are ye when men shall revile you and persecute you, and shall say all manner of evil against you falsely for my sake. Rejoice and be exceeding glad, for great is your reward in heaven. For so persecuted they the prophets which were before you." All right. You see? So, when we get persecuted, man, when you're persecuted, just remember, blessed are ye, and great is your reward in heaven. And they did the same things to the prophets that were before you. But don't think that they going to get away for persecuting us, man. All right? The Lord going to judge them. Remember, this is all the Lord's, all of the Lord's will. Okay? Yahweh Shai, asked if the Lord, if the Heavenly Father, could take the cup, I believe, from him, but it was of the Lord's will. All right? Remember, the Lord is in control. If the Lord didn't want us to be persecuted, then we wouldn't. But it's what it is. So, what you going to fall out now? Nah, man. You got to hold on to the end. So, this is the book of Acts, chapter 12, right? Starting at verse 1. It says, Peter's arrest and deliverance. Now it says, "Now about that time, Herod the king stretched forth his hands to vex certain of the church." And this Herod here, you look it up, they say that this Herod, all right, is, it says here, hold on. Okay, it says here, Herod Agrippa the first, all right, was the son of Aristobulus and Berenice, and grandson of Herod the Great. All right, but now when you jump down, it says something. It says he died at Caesarea, 44 A.D. at the age of 54 in the seventh or the fourth reckoning from the extension of his dominions by Claudius, year of his reign, just after having ordered James the apostle, son of Zebedee, to be slain and Peter to be cast into prison. So this is that Herod that they're saying here. Okay, Herod Agrippa the first. Okay, that's in Acts 12, and you go on Wikipedia. All right, it says Herod Agrippa, also known as Agrippa the first, all right, or Agrippa the Great, was the last king of Judea. He was a grandson of Herod the Great and the father of Herod Agrippa II, the last known king from the Herodian dynasty. He was an acquaintance or friend of Roman emperors and played crucial role and played crucial roles in internal Roman politics. Okay, and this is a picture of him right there. All right. A drawn picture, and they got a coin down here, but however it says here, Agrippa died suddenly. Agrippa died suddenly, but scriptures talk about the way he died. It says possibly poisoned in 44. He is the king named Herod, whose death is recounted in Acts 12. All right, which we're reading about. All right, and let me get a coin with his face on it. All right, pretty much. He was persecuting the church, man. He's persecuting the Achaeum, back then. All right. So this here says coin minted under Agrippa the first. Wait, I think this is Salaka. I'm not pretty sure. All right. But either way, okay. Yeah, either way. Let me just see something. All right, so he was vexing, he was vexing the church. So I'm going to read it again, Acts 12:1. Now, about that time, Herod the king stretched forth his hands to vex certain of the church. Now, I had looked at this word vex, right? And this kind of set the tone for the chapter, right? To vex. Strong's G2559, Kakuo, I believe it says to oppress, afflict, harm, maltreat. And remember this, right? It says to embitter, render evil affected. But let me look at that word maltreat. Maltreat, it says treat a person or animal cruelly or with violence. All right. Ill treat, mistreat, abuse, ill use, mistreat. All right. So he was persecuting the church. All right. You see? Once again, this sets tone for the chapter. And, in these times, look, under this man, Donald Trump. All right, I'm not saying Donald Trump is Herod, right here. I'm not saying that, okay? But I'm just, making a connection because Donald Trump, remember it was asked to him, if he was going to bring back the guillotines and everything and the firing squad and all of that, and he knows about us. He said there are prophets that say the world is going to end in the Middle East. All right, so he knows about, the Hebrew Israelites, okay? He knows about us, all right? But, I could definitely see persecution happening under him, okay? And the church getting vexed again, all right? Harmed, oppressed, persecuted. It says that he killed James, the brother of John, with the sword. So he actually, to this man Herod, all right, Agrippa the first, he killed the apostle James, with the sword, man. Okay, they killed one of the members, and we know a persecution. Hey, some of us may have to go, all right, for the Lord, as long as we go out enduring to the end, no matter what. It says, and because he saw it pleased the Jews, he proceeded further to take Peter also. Then were the days of unleavened bread. All right, so first off, all right, when he had killed one of the apostles, one of the believers in Yahushua, one of the apostles, it pleased our people, okay? It pleased our people. And that's why I was making the connection at first, because now in these times, right, a lot of people, they know about us Hebrew Israelites, okay? They know about us, and they know, some of the things we preach about, okay? And a lot of people don't like us. So when they persecute us, it's going to please our people, you see? It's going to please our people when persecution happens to us, man. All right, but you can't let that shake you. Okay. I can see now. People getting. Some brother. Persecution happening, and Jake talking all types of shit. Hey, when Yahweh Shai was getting persecuted, remember you remember that the people didn't the people weren't with him. All right, people were pleased that he was getting persecuted. They wanted him crucified. They said crucify him, crucify him. Remember? All right. But verse 4 says, and when he had apprehended him, he put him in prison and delivered him to 4 quaternions of soldiers to keep him, intending after Easter to bring him forth to the people. So in this Easter here, we ain't talking about no rabbits and bunnies. All right. And eggs. Easter here, and you look it up, right? You look at word. The Greek word is Pascha, and it says the paschal sacrifice, which was accustomed to be offered for the people's deliverance of old Egypt. But it says here the Paschal feast, the feast of the Passover. All right, so this talking about the Passover, which why you look and said the root word, all right, goes back to the Hebrew word Pesach, all right, which means Passover. Okay, so this is around the time of the Passover that this happened. Okay, so boom, right? So it's after Passover, he to bring Apostle Peter forth to the people, right? Verse 5, it says, Peter therefore was kept in prison, but prayer was made without ceasing of the church unto the Most High for him. So they were praying for the Apostle Peter. It says that when Herod would have brought him forth, the same night Peter was sleeping between 2 soldiers, bound with 2 chains, and the keepers before the door kept the prison. Okay, so I'm gonna read that part in the NLT. Acts 12 and 6. It says the night before Peter's trial, the night before Peter was to be placed on trial, he was asleep, fastened with 2 chains between 2 soldiers. Others stood guard at the prison gate. Okay, so the night before Apostle Peter was to be put on trial. Okay, something was going down. So back in the KJV on the left side it says verse 7, and behold, the angel of the Lord came upon him, and a light shined in the prison, and he smote Peter on the side, and raised him up, saying, arise up quickly. And his chains fell off from his hands. And the angel said unto him, gird thyself, and bind on thy sandals. And so he did. And he saith unto him, cast thy garment about thee, and follow me. So here it is, the night before Apostle Peter's trial. All right. The angel of the Lord came and delivered him. You see, in this thing, hey, who's not to say the same thing could happen again? With some, brothers, all right, that get caught up, that get taken, all right, taken away. You see? So this devil, because look, Herod, he probably thought, okay, he had Peter, man. He probably thought he had Peter. Peter wasn't getting out. That was the end. That was going to be the end of it for him, But see, it's all up to the Lord, man. So when this devil rolls on us, like the Elder Menatezak was saying, just because you get taken to a concentration camp or whatever, don't think that's going to be an end to you, man. What if an angel busts you out of there, okay? Or even what if the Lord gives you spiritual powers to break out, You see? So, hey. So you gotta remember things like these, okay? And this reminded me of Psalms 34. I'm gonna go get it right now, but yeah, so the night before Peter was to be placed on trial, and you see later on, a couple verses down, pretty much the day of his trial, hey, the day of his trial, they were scrambling, etc. The guards and everything. So the angel came and told Peter to get up, put your clothes on, let's go. It said the chains fell off from his hands. You see, this is the Lord doing this. See, the Lord don't forget. The Lord don't forget about his, man. All right. Verse 9, it says, and he went out and followed him, and knew not and wist not, and knew not that it was true which was done by the angel, but thought he saw a vision. So Apostle Peter thought he was seeing a vision, and that he didn't know, he didn't think what was actually going on was happening. He thought he was seeing a vision. Verse 10, it says, when they were past the first and second ward, they came unto the iron gate that leadeth unto the city, which opened to them of his own accord. And they went out and passed on through one street, and forthwith the angel departed from him. I'm going to read that in the NLT. They passed the first and second guard posts and came to the iron gate leading to the city. And try to imagine this, the angel leading Peter out, getting past different guard posts, and they come into the gate that leads to the city. It says, and this opened for them all by itself. See, it was of the Lord, man. Okay? The gate opened to them, all right, on its own. It says, so they passed through and started walking down the street, and then the angel suddenly left them. You see? Because the Lord wanted to get Peter up out of there. You see? Back in the KJV, verse 11, and when Peter was come to himself, he said, now I know of a surety that the Lord hath sent his angel and hath delivered me out of the hand of Herod and from all the expectation of the people of the Jews. Look at that word, expectation. Prosdokia. All right, it says expectation, whether good or evil. Under the Strong's definition, it says, get to the point, expectation. Oh, it says infliction, anticipated, expectation of looking after. So the Lord delivered Apostle Peter from the things that the people had planned for to happen to him. All right, you see, the Lord could do the same thing in these times. Okay, remember Yahushua said we're gonna get persecuted, man. All right, he even said, our own family's gonna turn on us and everything. So so you just gotta expect these things. Come to peace with it. Literally come to peace with it. Don't try to fight it in your mind. Just accept that these things are gonna happen, and when the time comes, it happens. Now, remember, this happened to Peter. Okay, this didn't happen to the Apostle James, as we seen in the beginning. He got martyred. You see, so look, even if the Lord don't decide to take you out of there, you just gotta accept, what's going on. If you gotta be a martyr, man, hey, if the Lord doesn't, deliver you out of the different, the Lord doesn't deliver you out of that situation. All right, when you're a martyr, then just come to peace with it. Just be like, all right, well, this is what has to happen. Don't fear it. Don't be afraid of that. Okay. Because that time hasn't happened to us just yet. All right. But and by the way, this persecution season ain't gonna last forever, man. All right, it's not gonna last forever. All right, it's only a specific time that the Lord has set up for it to happen. Okay, but it has to happen though. It ain't gonna last forever though, man. Remember that. All right. Acts 12 and verse 12. Now it says that when he had considered the thing, he came to the house of Mary, the mother of John, whose surname was Mark, where many were gathered together praying. And as Peter knocked at the door of the gate, a damsel came to hearken, named Rhoda. And when she knew Peter's voice, she opened not the gate for gladness, but ran in and told how Peter stood before the gate. And they said unto her, Thou art mad. But she constantly affirmed that it was so. It says, Then said they, It is his angel. But Peter continued knocking. And when they had opened the door and saw him, they were astonished. But he, beckoning unto them with the hand to hold their peace, declared unto them how the Lord had brought him out of the prison. See? And he said, Go, show these things unto James and to the brethren. And he departed and went into another place. Now as soon as it was day, there was no small stir. So, hey, so Apostle Peter, he came back and told, what happened, etc. Okay? And his NLT says, Tell James and the other brothers what happened. And he said, and then he went on, and then he went to another place. So he came back, and let everyone know what had happened. Simple as that. Okay? So the Lord delivered him out of there, you see? Now check this out, verse 18. Now as soon as it was day, there was no small stir among the soldiers what was become of Peter, in the NLT. At dawn, there was a great commotion. Remember, this was the night before his trial, Think about, you would think a picture, you in prison, and this, it's nighttime, and when it's daytime is your trial, you know. So verse 18, it says, at dawn there was a great commotion among the soldiers what had happened to Peter. Verse 19 in the NLT, Herod Agrippa ordered a thorough search for him. Remember the person we seen in the beginning. It says when he couldn't be found, Herod interrogated the guards and sentenced them to death. So them same guards, that kept Peter would end up being sentenced to death. They got their judgment. Afterward, Herod left Judea to stay in Caesarea for a while. All right. Back in the KJV, it says, and Herod was highly displeased with them of Tyre and Sidon, but they came with one accord to him, and having made Blastus, the king's chamberlain, their friend, desired peace, because their country was nourished by the king's country. All right, so moving on. Now remember Herod, the same Herod, he was, persecuting the church. Now look what ended up happening to him. Verse 21, and upon a set day, Herod, arrayed in royal apparel, sat upon his throne and made an oration to them. He was giving this, pretty much he put on royal apparel, sat on his throne, and was going to make a speech to the people, right? Verse 22, and the people gave a shout, saying, it is the voice of a God and not of a man. And immediately the angel of the Lord smote him, because he gave not God the glory, gave not Yahweh the glory, and he was eaten of worms and gave up the ghost. See, so he died, all right? And that's why when you read in Wikipedia, okay, remember, it said here, Agrippa died suddenly, okay? All right, and the scriptures tell us how he died. The angel of the Lord had smote him, okay? It's because he gave not the Most High glory, all right? So this man that vexed the church, he ended up being destroyed, you see? So these people that persecute us, don't think they're not going to get their judgment, man. No, they're not going to get away. Remember, vengeance is the Lord's. He will repay, all right? Verse 23, again, it says that immediately the angel of the Lord smote him, because he gave not God the glory, Yahweh the glory, and he was eaten of worms and gave up the ghost. But the word of the Most High grew and multiplied. So he died and the word multiplied. See? It says Barnabas and Saul returned from Jerusalem when they had fulfilled their ministry, and took with them John, whose surname was Mark. So boom, there you go. All right? So, and I was just thinking, this was a good chapter, to read, because persecution is coming, man. You got to remember the acts of old. As we read here in Sirach, also known as Ecclesiasticus, chapter 2 and verse 10. Look at the generations of old and see. Did ever any trust in the Lord and was confounded? Or did any abide in his fear and was forsaken? Or whom did he ever despise that called upon him? You see? So, you look at the accounts of old, all right? And you see, who trusted in the Lord and pretty much was left hanging? None. All right? And we just read one of them with Apostle Peter. See, verse 11, it says, for the Lord is full of compassion and mercy, long-suffering and very pitiful, and forgiveth sins, and saveth in time of affliction. Remember that, man. So, with that, giving all the praises, honor, and glory to whom rightfully belongs, which is Yahweh, Bahashem, Yahweh Shai, Bahashem, Rachak, double honors to the apostles and elders who gave notes to never well. Peace, blessings, and salutations to the elect. Shalom to the elect.